Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, November 3rd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, HKD. And this one, someday people probably had a really bad day because of this one. So, but I'm going to approach it more so from you're not in the chart yet. So for the people that, day traders, flippers, scalpers that were buying right there, or maybe bought the dip right there and their plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes. Yes, for those people, they're probably having a very bad weekend. But I'm talking about this more so from just the current situation where this is now getting interesting because, made the big move up and it started to drop and drop and drop. But now all of a sudden we have a little bit of potential where maybe there's some sort of lower trend line here. Not maybe, there is a lower trend line here that's illustrating. Actually, let's do this instead. There we go. That's illustrating that the price is leveled out and is actually maybe going a little bit slightly in the upwards direction. Now, let me be very clear, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because there's a big pullback and just because now the price is seemingly leveling out does not mean that for sure, guaranteed, without question, this thing is getting ready to head in the upwards direction. My point here is, has it become at least a plausible scenario? Absolutely. It's not guaranteed, but it's a reasonable outcome that could happen based off the action here. So if you like these sorts of situations where things are looking pretty ugly, pretty bad, but then there are some signs that maybe the price is getting leveled out and you like this price range down below $5, certainly keep an eye on this one. Next one here, EPWK, and same general idea of what I just talked about. So I'm going to go through it a little bit quicker, try to respect your time as much as possible and not just repeat myself. But again, very quickly, big move up. So if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, bought the gap down there, or excuse me, the pullback there, not looking good for you at all. So as there has been this big pullback, but again, now all of a sudden, notice what's going on with the price. It has at least started to go sideways, and it's going sideways right here at these very key moving averages. Pink line being the 200 period moving average, purple line being the 50 period moving average. But again, does that mean that just because it's gone sideways at these moving averages, guaranteed bottom? Absolutely not. But same logic. Is it valid? Is it reasonable to assume that maybe there's some sort of bounce getting ready to take place here? And I think that is a more than plausible scenario. This one had over 1 billion shares traded today. So you got to think a lot of people are watching it. But yes, nasty pullback down. But got this sideways movement occurring right at these key moving averages. Is this thing going to get some sort of bounce early next week? Grab your popcorn and we'll see what happens. Next one, CTM. And I like this one. Same general idea. So this has been the theme. Big move up. Rough move down, but this one has actually recovered enough where it's not nearly as ugly as kind of those first couple. But we do now have a very, what I think, transparent area that a lot of people have drawn. And I like when, these areas that you got to assume a lot of people have drawn an area because when lots of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can certainly produce some very dynamic movements. And that's what we have here with that level at the resistance point. So keep an eye on that. Again, no guarantees, but is it valid to think that the price comes up here and pushes up through there? That break right there could create additional buying pressure. In my mind, that is a more than plausible scenario. In terms of areas of support, that level down here seems to be pretty important, right around $1.16, give or take a little bit. You can see the price essentially there, obviously down below it, but then quickly recovered back up, and then once more right there, bounce off it. So if this does get rejected back, I'd say keep an eye on $1.16 as an important area of support. But in my opinion, at least, by far the most interesting dynamic here is, can the price push up through that resistance? And if so, how big of a breakout could it create? Next one here, YDKG. And as I just talked about on the previous one, got to think that a lot of people have connected these two dots right here. So therefore, a lot of people watching it, and we'll see if that can create some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy breakout up around there. So if this, now to be fair, this last 30 minutes here, looking pretty rough actually. But if this does actually curl back upwards and come back up, then we'll see if any sort of break of that level creates any upwards buying pressure. So now that I kind of just talk out loud on that one, probably the more important issue and pressing issue is no longer can the price break through that area right there, but making sure that this pullback here last 30 minutes doesn't completely spin out of control. What would I define quote unquote spinning out of control as? Is if the price comes down to this area right here, down below 5 cents. Why is 5 cents important? I'm not saying this is what's going to occur, but if the price comes down here and then just keeps on going, what do you then have at that point in time? You would quite literally have the price having gone right back to where it started. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make great moves up and then all of a sudden go right back to where they started, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. Again, I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but that is why in my mind, 5 cents there, definitely a very important level from a support standpoint. Next one here, MSAI, and overall a nice pattern here, but as has been the theme, nice move up, pull back, but from the grand scheme of it all, it's almost a case of deja vu because this is now the 3rd day in a row. Nice move up, down it went. But then the next day, nice move up, and then it did pull back. And then look at today, up and then down. Now let me be very clear. Just because this has happened before does not mean that for sure guaranteed. That means on Monday this thing is going to go back up and then do something like that. I wish it were that easy. Now, would that catch anybody off guard? Would anybody be shocked? I would hope not at this point, given that's already happened 3 times before. But that does seem to be the current pattern of this one. So yes, things do look rough, but like I said, when you look at the past couple of days, the price has done this before. So yes, interesting pattern. And if you find this intriguing at all, then I definitely say keep an eye on it for Monday. Real quick, want to take a break and help you solve a potential problem, and it's very common, and that is you wanting to be a day trader, and I'm defining day trader as having unlimited day trades every single day, but you can't because of the pattern day trading rule. So that's why you're trading penny stocks or small caps or low floats, because you're trying to grow your money to meet the requirements. But please realize you could become a day trader today for a very, very small amount of money. And I do understand if all this sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? I get it, which is why I'm inviting you. Come swing by my live stream. Start every day at 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. And I go for a few hours. And you can see this with your very own eyes and ask me any sort of questions if you do have them. But believe it or not, for a very small amount of money, very little at risk, you can put yourself into a market that moves way better than penny stocks and low floats anyways, and also allows you to have as many day trades as you want every single day. So like I said, come swing by the live stream or just let me know if you have any questions down in the comment section. Next one here, BYND, and an interesting situation here as we head into next week. And that is, now, I suppose, interesting situation for some. If you like to play breakouts, yes, for you, that opportunity has already come and gone. But at least it now does move into the fact that we get to ask a very interesting question, and that is this. Is this the start of something bigger? Now think about that question. It makes no sense to ask it if nothing worthwhile is even happening. But in this situation, something is actually happening. The breakout occurred. To be fair, maybe it's not the start of anything bigger. Maybe this thing just rolls right back over. But again, to be fair, that is a two-sided coin. So maybe this is the start of something bigger, and this thing's getting ready to rock and roll in the upwards direction next week. So yes, the breakout has occurred, so you missed that. But now we get to ask the question, is this breakout the start of something even bigger? We'll see what happens next week. Next one here, DVLT, and same general idea. This thing got absolutely beat down today very, very brutally. But then we have this where the price was able to push up through here. And now we have nothing drastic, but enough to say, okay, it's broken. And it's not one of these things, and this will mean a little bit more if you have more experience, but I'm sure you've seen situations where something breaks and then it immediately just drops right back over. Well, that's not the case here. It broke, it maintained, and it's slightly moving upwards. So yes, once again, we get to ask the question, okay, is this indeed the start of something bigger? This trend line break has occurred. It's maintained itself, slight move in the upwards direction. But is all this a leading indicator of more upside momentum to come? We'll see what happens early next week. Next one here, looking at AMZN. You think I know that. That is Amazon. And yeah, as I speak right now, and like I said earlier, that's why I like to use when the markets are still open. Pretty rough last 30 minutes of the day and of the week, and I suppose last day of October and the month. But regardless, very, very clean trend line, which goes back to the topic I talked about. But by no means am I trying to impress you by putting that trend line in place. You got to think that everybody and their brother's uncle has put that trend line in place. So as I've said, does that guarantee anything? It doesn't. But if the price were to come up here and break through there, I think it makes it more than plausible to throw out the question that that break very well could create some good upside buying pressure. So keep an eye on that. And then as far as the bottom part of this pattern and current trend line is concerned, right there, change that to green for support. And then if you wanted to convert this just into an overall pattern, so there's our support, or excuse me, resistance. There's our support. There's the big old move right there. You could call this a bull flag pattern. So if you like bull flags on very well-known, very popular stocks, definitely keep an eye on Amazon. Next one, NVDA, NVIDIA. And we have ourselves a very interesting situation, and that has to do with this purple line here, which if you've been watching past videos, then you know I've continually talked about, hey, on NVIDIA, as long as the price is above that purple line, everything's fine. And you can see earlier on in the day, price did a beautiful job of bouncing off that. But right now, the price is essentially right at that level. Now, technically, it's slightly below it. But you got to remember, supports, resistance levels are not exact prices. There's a little bit of a range element. So I would still consider this well within the range of the purple line. Well, that does lead to an interesting question starting off next week. Is the price going to be able to hold above that level? If it doesn't, and if this is the start of a bigger breakdown, next key area of support that I would say to keep a close eye on down here at that level of the 201.50 mark. And then if that level can't quite hold up, just to give more context, this is all occurring in a very much so overall uptrend. But if that level can't quite hold up, then the next level to keep an eye on from a support standpoint down here right around 196.75. In terms of areas of resistance, we have this overall trend line in place now, so keep an eye on that. But like I said, in my opinion at least, the most interesting dynamic is what exactly is going to happen with that purple line. Is the price finally going to push down through it? And if so, how bad does it get? So we'll see how it all plays out early next week. Next one here, TSLA. And let's just get this Tesla, by the way. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, maybe. But I'm going to go through this very quickly because you've already heard me talk about it. So let me just go through it and maybe you already see where I'm going with this. Right here, very, very critical, very, very well known, very watched trend line right here. And yeah, if you noticed it right here, the price has now broken through it during the last 30 minutes of the day, which leads to the question, which say it with me, is this the start of something even bigger? Very, very interesting dynamic here with Tesla to close out the week. Big key trend line. And this is not like a trend line where, okay, it formed within the past like 30 minutes. No, this is a multi-day trend line that the price has finally been able to not only break above, but close above. Once more for the final time. Guarantees nothing, but certainly makes it a very, very interesting situation. So Tesla with the trend line breakout. Will this be the start of a new upwards surge of momentum next week for Tesla? We'll definitely have to sit back and see how it all plays out. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you are sick and tired of the pattern day trend rule, or you just flat out want a new market to trade, you want to experiment, you want to keep your risk very minimal, then what I've been doing is something certainly worth consideration. But I do, like I mentioned earlier, understand if all this sounds a little too sketchy, too good to be true. But it's what I've been doing with my money. I've put my money where my mouth is, and you're more than welcome to come watch it with your very own eyes on the live stream and ask me any sort of questions that you may have. So I hope this helps and can help you become a day trader very, very quickly if that is your goal. So thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, and hopefully I'll see you on the live stream.